Some wounds don't heal because they still hurt. They don't heal because they are still carried. The betrayal, the rejection, the disappointment, the words that should never have been said. And maybe you have heard we said, just forgive and move on, as if healing were that simple. But what if forgiveness isn't about forgetting? What if it is about putting down a weight you carried for so long? Few years ago, there was a man with foundation beneath him can build almost anything. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, this series is about rebuilding life after a difficult season. A season that forced us to confront growth, to confront pain, loss, hunger, and ultimately healing. If you have been walking through this journey with us, thank you for being here. Today's conversation is about forgiveness. Not the easy version, the real version, the difficult version, the version that many people struggle with for years. Stay with me because this may change the way you think about forgiveness forever. For many people, forgiveness feels unfair because the hurt was real, the betrayal was real, the damage was real. And when someone says you need to forgive, it sounds like they are saying what happened doesn't matter. But that is not forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't erase the wound. It doesn't rewrite the history. It doesn't pretend everything was okay. In fact, real forgiveness begins by telling the truth. The truth that you were hurt. The truth that something valuable was lost. The truth that what happened affected you deeply. Only then can healing begins. Before we continue, if this message reminds you of someone carrying old wounds, share it with them. Sometimes healing begins with a new perspective. And if you are committed to rebuilding your life with wisdom and peace, subscribe and join us for the journey ahead. Here is something many people discover too late. Unforgiveness feels like punishment, but often the person suffering most is the one carrying it, because resentment demands energy, bitterness demands attention, old parts demand space in your mind, and before long you find yourself reliving the moment you wish you had left behind. Not because you want to, but because you are still emotionally attached to what happened. The injury occurred in the past, but the suffering keeps being renewed in the present. That's why forgiveness matters, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. We'll be right back after a short break, and when we return, let's talk about how forgiveness can free you without requiring you to forget what happened. Welcome back. One of the biggest misconceptions about forgiveness is that it requires reconciliation. It doesn't. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. Forgiveness releases resentment. Trust must be built. Forgiveness does not remove wisdom. It does not eliminate boundaries. It does not require that you put yourself back in harmful situation. You can forgive and still protect yourself. You can forgive and still remember the lesson. You can forgive and still acknowledge the pain, because forgiveness isn't pretending the wounds never existed. It is choosing not to let the wound control your future. If you are struggling to forgive, start here. Stop asking whether the other person deserves it. Instead, ask, what is this resentment costing me? Your peace, your prayer, your joy, your energy, your ability to move forward. Because holding on often feels powerful, but sometimes the strongest thing you can do is release what no longer serves you. And remember, forgiveness is rarely a one-time decision. Sometimes it is a process, a choice you make again and again, until one day you realize the wound no longer has the power over you. Maybe today there is someone you haven't forgiven. Maybe the person is an old friend, a family member, a former partner. Maybe that person is you. Whatever it is, know this: forgiveness isn't saying the pain doesn't matter. It is saying the pain won't define the rest of your life. And that is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. If this message spoke to you where you are right now, share it with someone who is carrying a burden that no longer serves them. Save it for the moment when old wounds try to pull you back, and subscribe if you are continuing to rebuilding your life with freedom, wisdom, and hope. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it can change what the past is allowed to do to your future.